In the forgotten town of Pinehollow, nestled between forested hills and endless stretches of whispering pines, there stood an old house at the end of a gravel path, past the fields where children once played and birds once sang, but now only silence lived, deep and endless like the pause between two breaths. The house had once belonged to Clara Wren, a widow with eyes like storm clouds and hands that smelled faintly of rosemary and smoke. She was kind, quiet, and always seemed to know when someone was sad, bringing them warm tea and soft words with a smile that never quite reached her eyes. No one knew where Clara came from. Some said she had lived there all her life. Others swore she'd appeared one foggy morning out of nowhere, simply existing in that house as if she'd always been a part of it. Her home was never grand, just 3 creaking stories of time-worn wood and whispering wallpaper, the kind that curled at the corners like old paper memories. But there was something about the house that breathed, something alive in the walls and floors and windows that sighed gently on still nights, like a mother checking on her sleeping child. Clara was seen less and less over the years, the light in her upstairs bedroom flickering later and later into the evening, until one night it didn't flicker at all. The next morning the house was silent, the curtains drawn, the kettle cold, and Clara was nowhere to be found. Not a note, not a sound, just the wind moving through the hallway as if searching for her. The townsfolk searched for days, even weeks, walking through the house with hesitant steps, whispering her name into dust and shadow. But she had vanished like smoke in a storm. And so the house remained, untouched, unclaimed, yet never truly empty. Some said they heard Clara humming in the early morning fog, a lullaby with no name that drifted through the trees and wound through bedroom windows, curling into dreams like a soft ribbon of warmth. Others claimed that if you knocked on the door at midnight and stood still long enough, you could hear the gentle rocking of a chair upstairs, as though time itself had paused just for her. But it was not a frightening house, not in the way ghost stories usually go. There were no slamming doors or bloodied mirrors or flickering apparitions with hollow eyes. Instead, the house seemed to watch, patiently, like an old friend waiting for you to remember its name. Travelers who lost their way in Pinehollow often found themselves standing before it, drawn by an invisible thread of longing, and some even stayed the night when the cold air turned sharp and cruel. They said the beds were always warm, the sheets tucked just so, and that they awoke feeling rested in a way they hadn't felt in years. Some even cried, though they didn't know why, only that something deep inside them had been soothed, perhaps a wound they'd forgotten, or a sorrow they hadn't named. One man, a teacher from out of town, swore that Clara herself had touched his shoulder as he drifted to sleep, her hand light as dandelion fluff, and whispered, "You are safe now, child." Over time, the house became a local legend, not of horror, but of healing. People called it the house that waited for the wind, because the breeze there always carried something soft, something that stirred leaves and memories alike. Children dared each other to leave flowers on the porch, and some swore those flowers were gone the next morning, replaced by feathers or small stones shaped like hearts. A woman who had lost her son came to sit on the steps every evening for weeks, saying nothing, just listening to the wind and watching the curtains sway. and one morning she smiled for the first time in years and walked away with lighter steps. No one asked what she saw or heard. Some things are not meant to be explained. Eventually, even those who doubted began to feel it, the pull, the peace, the presence. It wasn't haunted, not really. It was haunted with care, as though Clara had woven herself into the very walls, choosing to remain not out of fear or sorrow, but out of love, a love too gentle to leave. Even skeptics came to believe, if only a little, after standing in the garden where lilies bloomed in the frost, or after hearing the sound of a lullaby no one remembered teaching their children. Seasons came and went, snow fell on the old roof like whispered stories, and time moved on, but the house remained, unchanged yet timeless, like a breath held just before a dream. And perhaps that's where you are now too. Not in Pinehollow exactly, but in the space between story and sleep, where shadows are soft and memories are kinder than they once were. You feel the quiet settling around you, the same way the dust settles in the corners of forgotten rooms. And maybe, just maybe, you can hear Clara's song, soft, slow, spinning like a lullaby through the branches of your thoughts, wrapping around your heart like a shawl made of stars. Rest now, dear listener. Let the story hold you. Let the house that waits wait for you too. And when the wind comes, let it carry you gently into dreams where nothing is lost and everything is safe, and where the night sings softly always until the morning comes.